fourth Republican debate has lousy ratings. So why do Republican candidates fight each other to be president? Everybody knows Trump will be the Republican nominee. Thankfully the political show is over this month, and each candidate has flapped his or her gums with empty promises. In this monologue, Ken Pelock examines the truth behind the last four losers. We start with Chris Christie. It must have taken a lot of campaign money and underhanded skullduggery to put him in office as governor of New Jersey. I'm wondering why he can't smile. Perhaps it requires too much energy to hoist all that lip blubber. Or maybe it's because he is too busy snarling about Trump to smile. Whatever. It takes a massive ego to have the courage to roll his elephant ass across the heavily reinforced debate stage. Needless to say, we can't afford the fuel to haul him around to donut shops on Air Force One. Nor can we trust him to run the country when he can't control his brontosaurus appetite. How many animals must die to keep this worthless slug alive? Next up is Nikki Haley. Nikki, aka Dick Cheney in high heels, refused to support a bathroom bill to stop brainwashed individuals in the trans cult from using women's bathrooms. The bill would require individuals who are scientifically male or female to use designated bathrooms. Haley said that the bill wasn't necessary. The hell it isn't. This has produced a breeding ground for predators, rape, and violence. Nikki has also teased she's willing to make big budget cuts, which include SS and Medicare. Of course, no president has that power. Those two taxes are set by Congress. She's deceiving you. And like John McCain and Dick Cheney, Haley is another warmonger who believes we haven't done enough for Ukraine. To Nikki, the word, we, means the sucker taxpayers, not her. Last summer, senior editor Mark Maremont of the Wall Street Journal filed a report detailing how Nikki's husband, Michael Haley, was given secret ownership shares in a company tied to the Two Kings Casino Resort in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. The shares held by Haley and her hubby were hidden from public view, by using several layers of corporations and limited liability companies. In other words, gifts to those politically connected like Nikki Haley are what is called pay to play. The real scandal, though, lies in the fact that Haley, the most unbridled warmonger in the 2024 presidential field, has been overtly saber-rattling in support of yet another foreign entanglement that would enrich the couple with tens of millions of dollars. Don't wait for something to happen in Taiwan, she told an audience in New Hampshire earlier this summer. Do it now. Make sure our allies are working with them to make sure they have the equipment now. You know, the things like armored vehicles, missiles, drones, and offensive weapons sent to Ukraine that have cost millions of lives fighting an unwinnable war. And last week Haley's financial ties to the military-industrial complex were exposed by investigative journalist Lee Fong. The piece explored the curious background of Haley. She went from virtually no assets or investments in 2017, and up to $1 million in debt, to a sizable fortune in no time at all. According to Fong, Haley's warmongering helped her, and her husband, amass a net worth of more than $12 million since 2017. And when DeSantis went after the formerly family-friendly Disney, Haley sided with that super-woke corporation that is hell-bent on grooming and sexualizing children. Another thing. Haley was recently endorsed by the Koch network. That alone should tell you Nikki is the shadow government's darling. Way back in 2018, the billionaire Koch brothers launched a super PAC to back politicians who support their agenda of open borders, amnesty, and endless free trade. The Koch's network of PACs and organizations joined together to elect candidates that fit their self-serving profit agenda. This stands in stark opposition to President Trump's protective tariffs, border wall, and America First. Next is Governor Ron DeSantis. Ron made a name for himself in Florida fighting the wokeness, child pornography in schools, and gender reassignment surgery. But is DeSantis bought and paid for like the other candidates? Let's see. The facts lead most to not vote for Ron DeSantis. True, he has loyal supporters, especially over how he handled the COVID-19 pandemic hysteria. But he's running for president and commander-in-chief now. And while DeSantis has an exemplary and honorable record serving in the U.S. Navy, he's in bed with those destroying our country. He is being heavily promoted by perennial Republican water boy and multi-millionaire Sean Hannity. He wets himself regularly when speaking about DeSantis, while backslapping him for the great job he did to help manufacture the questionable COVID pandemic. Coincidentally, Hannity just happens to have considerable real estate investments in Florida. Meanwhile, Kat Stansell's excellent investigation exposes what most Americans don't know. And it is outrageous. In recent legislation, just signed by DeSantis, voting by machine was made mandatory, and hand-counting votes was forbidden. Let that sink in. The lying, cheating Democrat Communist Party USA must love DeSantis and their legislature. Taking away the right of any candidate being able to verify an actual vote count is grossly un-American and stinks of corruption and fraud. It's important to remember the words of the mass murderer Joseph Stalin, who said, "The people who cast the votes don't decide an election, the people who count the votes do." On September 11, 2023, Kat Stansell also wrote, "The Election Crimes Unit, for which Floridians are paying $1.4 million this year, has so far only tagged a few felons trying to register to vote and had a lot of pressers on the subject. No efforts have been made to resolve the massive voter record manipulations discovered by Chris Jersky's People's Audit, other than by a few individual county supervisors of elections." To solve election issues, DeSantis's Tallahassee team passed legislation mandating machine voting. Even the RNC had resolved to make hand counting illegal and to allow audits, canvassing, and other verification procedures to be performed only by state officials. This hides fraud, instead of cleaning it up. The Washington Examiner reported that the DeSantis administration provided $90,000 in tax relief to the Chinese company Jinko Solar in 2020, through his Urban Job Tax Credit program in Florida, despite his denials. But on December 1, 2023, the company was raided by the Department of Homeland Security in 2022 after allegations it violated the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. The smartest one is Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek is the only candidate speaking the truth and slamming others who are afraid to speak it. However, he has made courageous promises to abolish the corrupt FBI, the unconstitutional ATF, and the Department of Education. He has even promised to round up and deport everyone here illegally. And to stop fighting wars for other countries. All are needful things, as I've written about myself. But Vivek knows he would be impeached if he tried. Moreover, for some people, his questionable business dealings raise questions about his integrity and competence to run the country. Vivek Ramaswamy is a smooth talker to be sure. He sounds like Trump's policies most of the time and he's intelligent, no question about that. The fact is, the other on-stage candidates and interviewers are intimidated by Vivek's superior intellect and quickness on his feet. But to the public, he comes across as someone looking for their next mark. For example, Vivek complains about China, but his latest pharma venture is in communist China. Even a quick search will provide you with Ramaswamy's long-time business dealings with the commies. On July 29, 2023, it was reported that Vivek Ramaswamy aligned himself with McConnell, DeSantis, Club for Growth, and Wall Street, all pushing for the U.S. to re-enter the TPP trade agreement. Thankfully, Trump got us out of the TPP in the scam Paris Climate Agreement. Conclusion. The people get it. That's why these imposters have such low poll ratings. So, where does all this leave us? The answer is simple. If you believe that elections can save the country, then Trump is the only choice. Like it or not, Trump will win the Republican Party nomination and will probably be the next president. Let's hope he selects a better choice for VP than that flat cardboard cutout, Mike Pence.